Rajendra Shivoham, Shiv Shankar, Bisham Sudeep Bhargava Shivoham, Tanu, Girish, Ashok Nichani. Shivoham to all of you and the rest of you whom I cannot see. Welcome to the call. So today I have an interesting question. I don't know how many of you will understand what I'm trying to ask you, but the question is as follows. The question is, do you get moments of consciousness? Or do you get moments of thoughts? Or do you get no consciousness at all? So somebody asked me this to clarify this, and I thought I will ask you this question because this is not an easy thing to understand. And every day at AskCare, we do different levels of questions. Some are simple questions, some are difficult questions. So I can assure you that this is not an easy question. What we are asking is not an easy question. Correct? So I am posting this question for your understanding and for your response. Do you get moments of consciousness? Do you get moments of thoughts? Or do you get no consciousness at all? Or do you get no moments of consciousness at all? So who would like to attempt this, to understand and explain this and give me the answer? I just don't want to, I want you to first explain what you understand, correct? And I want you to then explain the answer to me.
Can I try, sir?
Please try.
Shubham, sir.
Shivoham.
So for me, I think I can take a comparison of sky and the clouds. So sky is like the consciousness, which is always there. The thoughts will appear in the consciousness and disappear also. Consciousness will just make me aware of those thoughts, that the thought came in my mind. But that thought will appear in consciousness and it will disappear. Consciousness will remain there. Consciousness will never come, it will never go. Thoughts will come and they will go. That's the comparison I can draw.
So therefore, my question still, okay, so you have an analogy. I understand that you understand what I understand. But the point is that others will not understand what you understand because they do not understand that. Okay, you can be sure of that. So
okay.
We'll see how many people understand what you're saying. It's not easy to understand analogies sometimes. So I'm asking you then the question. I understand, right, what you're talking about. So tell me, do you get moments of consciousness? Do you get moments of thoughts? Or do you get no consciousness at all?
Shivoham, pranam Guruji. Shivoham.
Shivoham, Kiran, let Sudeep finish. He's not yet finished, Kiran. Just one moment, please. Sudeep, continue, Sudeep.
Sir. So with that, my answer will be, we get movements of thoughts. Consciousness is always there.
You as Sudeep Bhargava.
Me as Sudeep Bhargava as consciousness, I'm always there. As a body, obviously, I'm going to die.
I'm asking you the question. Dear Sudeep Bhargava,
okay.
Do you experience moments of consciousness? Or do you experience moments of thoughts? Or do you get no consciousness at all?
No, consciousness is always there. And when I'm sitting in silence, then I can observe what is happening around me. Otherwise, at times I just get carried away. I don't even get to know what's happening around me. I just keep reacting to the situation.
Have you captured the question? You got the message on your WhatsApp, right?
No, I didn't check that, sir.
From 55555, you must have got the message on WhatsApp. Just look at while Kiran gets to speak, because this is a very, very important part of our journey of enlightenment. Today, I am touching a subject which may become like how once we talked about the rebirth of the soul, it became a subject for several days, weeks. And now we are very clear. In fact, yesterday we spoke of something very interesting, right? We said you transfer software from one mobile to the other, but you don't transfer the power supply. So it's very clear. Everybody is very clear what we are talking about. Today, I am asking you a question, which is, I hope you found that message. Otherwise, I'll send it to you. Should I send you the message?
No, I didn't receive the message, sir. I have not received the message. I just checked it.
I'm projecting the message for you, and I'm also sending it to you on WhatsApp. Kiran, you can attempt what you're trying to say, Kiran. Sudeep, I've sent you the message. Kiran, what? And also it's projected for everybody on the screen. Continue, please. Kiran Kathuria, what are you trying to say? Please share your thoughts. Kiran, are you planning to give us your thoughts, please?
Pranam Guruji.
Pranam.
I feel thoughts are coming in our mind when we are not able to control our mind. And when
Thoughts
we
are
are
coming in your mind or from your mind?
from my mind, when thoughts are there, that at that time we are not controlling our mind. Mind is distracting us. When
But
we
you're
are
not-
conscious, when
you're
we
not-
are conscious,
No.
mind is under our control fully. At time, mind is not taking us here and there.
I understand. But you please answer my question. Do you experience, my question is very simple, right? Do you experience moments of consciousness?
Yes.
Or do you experience moments of thought? Or do you
Both.
experience no consciousness at all?
Both
Both.
we experience.
Guruji, Shivoham.
If
Shivoham,
we are on-
Guruji. Pranam Kumar Swami Bolo. What is your tippani? What is your expert comment on this matter?
Not expert, sir. You are my guru.
So you are my guru, sir. Okay, tell me, sir, what is the point?
Generally, sir, the consciousness is every movement we are experiencing, because if you look something, first consciousness, then thought will arise. Thought also, the first consciousness, then thought arises regarding that. And the no conscious person means either he might have dead, or he might have coma, or he might have been deep sleep. This is my
No, Excel, you have gone to a different level, Kumar Swami, my appreciation. Now, Kumar Swami, we are talking of two different types of consciousness. Now,
awareness.
no, you are talking about life consciousness. Right now, you are referring to life consciousness. If there is no life consciousness, there will be no mind, there's no thought at all. How can there be thought? Man is dead. There's no, we are not talking about the life consciousness. Forget about the life consciousness. We are talking about the spiritual consciousness.
Okay.
No, so try to contemplate. Kumar Swami, this will help you a lot. This is a very interesting subject. So my question to you, Kumar Swami, please listen to what I'm saying carefully. Do you experience moments of consciousness, or do you experience moments of thoughts, or do you experience no consciousness at all? Of course, there is consciousness. You're not discussing that. Do you experience? What am I saying?
No, actually, then we will experience it, because when we will feel I am not body and mind, then automatically we will feel that our conscious will go on consciousness, and some vibrations also will come in the body when you see outside. When you, as a Atma, if you see, as a conscious, if you see, definitely you will find some movement in the body, some energy will find in the body. That means you are seeing through a consciousness.
Very interesting.
Moment by moment.
Okay, very interesting. So I'm just trying to see whether I think we don't have too much time. So let me get to this. Anybody wants to speak anything specific you want to say, or I will get to
Can I
explaining
try?
it.
Can
Yes,
I try?
Shivoham here.
Yes,
Shivoham,
Samita.
sir.
Samita, bolo. Shivoham.
Sir, I think I am consciousness. Thoughts come and go. But still, we are at the level of human consciousness. We have not reached divine consciousness. Because human consciousness, still mind and ego is there. Only when we go above that, and when we are into enlightenment, then we'll go to divine consciousness, which is unconditional love, and above that.
Okay. So again, so do you think you get moments of consciousness?
We are consciousness. Thoughts
No,
come and go.
we are not talking about that consciousness. Do you experience moments of consciousness? Do you experience that consciousness? or you don't?
Yes, it is that mindfulness in that moment.
So you experience moments.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
And then thoughts come in.
Good. So you get the point what I'm trying to say. So now, so we have got Samita now who's come to a level of saying, yeah, I experienced that moment, some moments of consciousness. And before I can even remain in that state of consciousness, thoughts come in. And what happens to the consciousness?
Wavering.
It disappears.
Disappears.
You are that consciousness. What Kumar Swami told. Now here Kumar Swami is talking about life consciousness. We are always that life consciousness. And this is what Sudeep tried to explain. Sudeep gave a good analogy when he said the analogy of the sky, where the consciousness is always there. Because I like his analogy is a very good analogy, but his mind will take him like the clouds everywhere. So the clouds come like thoughts, and you don't see very often a clear blue sky without a single cloud. Sometimes you see, but normally we have seen, like now in Bangalore, there's only clouds. You can't see one drop of sky. Okay, I think there was Rajendra was trying to say something. The last person, Rajendra, you were trying to say something.
Yeah, Shiva Mayor,
Shiva, bolo Rajendra.
I experience moments of consciousness as well as moments of thoughts. More of consciousness during and more of consciousness and less of thoughts during Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Dhyana Yoga. But more of thoughts and less of consciousness during other time.
Okay, good. I appreciate what you're saying. Thank you, Rajendra. But now I'm getting into it because we can't lose the ask care session, right? Some people are already asking questions. So are you all ready to listen to me now? Do I have your attention? So here it is. Ajidek, Ajidek. The point is this. A normal human being who is not on the spiritual path, he is constantly experiencing thoughts. Easy to understand? All the time he's experiencing thought. Dattatra, you're getting me what I'm saying? So now, when you start the spiritual journey, what Kumar Swami is saying, the consciousness is always there from the time you're born till the time you die. It is, you're always having consciousness. But do you experience that consciousness? Now, I hope Kumar Swami, you're understanding what I'm saying. You experience that consciousness when you get in that state of chitta. When you get in that state of chitta, in that state of chitta, there are no thoughts. There is thoughtlessness. There is mindfulness or consciousness. People who are experiencing hundreds of thousands of clouds in the sky with one patch of blue, get this patch of consciousness. The consciousness is like the blue sky, like Sudeep said. So you get a patch, suddenly one small patch of consciousness, like Rajendra said, during Dhyana Yoga, I get consciousness. The normal persons have got thought, and a moment of consciousness. The realized being has got consciousness, and patches of clouds. Just a cloud will come into the sky and disappear. And there are some people who never experience consciousness at all. Why I touch this subject is, unless you understand this state of consciousness, you cannot move forward in the journey of enlightenment. So today I spent a lot of time. I don't know whether I have communicated. Sudeep, before the meeting ends, please clarify whether you have got the point, but we'll get back to question answers. And it's a very interesting subject. All of you, I hope you understand. So you have to understand, is your life like a clear blue sky where you get little bit of cloud coming and going? Or is your life full of clouds where you rarely get to see the blue sky. What is your life? Or is it in between? Because if you do not have the state of consciousness, mindfulness, thoughtlessness, then you are a slave of your mind, and the mind will make you miserable. It will make you upset. It will make you attached. It will make you lose the consciousness of reality. Thank you. We are going on to questions. The first
question from Jyotri.
Jyotri, the first question from Jyotri. Yesterday you spoke about how the soul and previous karma entered the new cell. Yes, Kumar Swami explained actually. It will be pleasure if you can discuss it again, as well as I have a doubt. What if a new fresh life is born without any previous birth or karma? Is he going to enjoy or suffer in this world? At this point of time, it is better for us to understand that everybody who is born by karma. Let us not think there's anybody new being born, because it becomes very complicated. What that must have happened thousands of years ago, or whatever, I don't know what period of time, right? But Jyotri, at this point of time, the analogy is anybody without karma is not born. So I hope you are clear in that analogy. Do not let your mind make you dance with the thought that somebody is being born without karma. No. If somebody has no karma, they are liberated and united with God. So we can discuss this in the end. Administrator, he wants to see we can discuss this in the end. I'm putting this as the last point for further discussion about how the soul enters into the zygote. This Kumar Swami spoke about it beautifully. The mind and ego enters, the soul energizes, the karma is already there with the mind and ego. So let us see if we have time, Jyotri. We were going to get this to the end, towards the end of the discussion. Second question: what is the profound difference between religion and spirituality? And is Buddhism a religion? Of course, Buddhism is a religion, because if you go to a Buddhist temple, they are praying to thousands of idols, hundreds and hundreds and thousands. I went to Singapore. There are hundreds and thousands of idols, and Buddhism is a multi-dissected religion, because there are different Mahayana and Hinayana and all types of Bangkok Buddhism and Colombo Buddhism and Tibet Buddhism, and so there are all types of Buddhism, right? The difference between religion and spirituality: religion is narrow. It believes that its scripture, its belief is the best in the world. It believes in its own God. It believes its own books of teachings. Spirituality has got no God. Spirituality doesn't have a God with name and form. Spirituality has no scripture. Spirituality is about a human being being the divine spirit. Spirituality is becoming one with God. Spirituality is about the Atma, the soul, the Paramatma. So that is the answer, Jyotri. Religion, in our words, is only a kindergarten to spirituality. Religion only teaches us the ABC, nothing more. So anybody the live question?
Second question, Komal.
Komal, how to be conscious all the time? Okay, Komal has caught the subject. To be like the blue sky. Okay, Komal, to be conscious all the time is the biggest challenge in the world. Even Narendra Modi, even Mukesh Ambani, even Bill Gates cannot be. The richest man in the world cannot be. The Chinese dictator cannot be. No, nobody can be. Not even the North Korean chief. Because how can you be conscious? You mean to say, how can you be in consciousness? I believe you're telling, I think you typed the word conscious, but it means consciousness. How can you be in consciousness all the time, Komal? By having zero thought. By having zero thought. Zero, 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 zero. Is it possible? Not possible. So that state of consciousness actually doesn't exist. Because even in that state of consciousness or samadhi or Satchidananda, there will be a random one thought coming in, and it will not disturb you. It will fly like a bird and disappear. It will come like a butterfly and move. It will come like a leaf and sway and disappear. The thought will not. So how do you make out? How do you make out you're in the state of consciousness? When the thoughts do not crystallize into feelings and actions. When the thoughts just come and they do not disturb your consciousness. Suppose you're praying to Lord Shiva in consciousness. Suppose you are praying to Lord Shiva, and because you pray to Shiva, you're looking at Shiva, and there's consciousness, and there's a thought coming that there are 4 frogs jumping in front of the statue, but you observe that, but you do not lose your consciousness of Lord Shiva, and the consciousness remains. That means the thought has failed to disturb your consciousness. But normally, if your mind jumps and your consciousness is gone, your mind jumps to the frogs, and you think these are such dirty frogs and where they came and see how they croak and how these people are not cleaning the temple, and these people are so shameless because there are so many frogs here and the sound is coming. And yesterday on the TV, I saw how in Jakarta they eat frogs' legs and how people are killing the frogs. Then what happens is your mind jumps from thought to thought to thought to thought to thought, and the prayer is lost. The consciousness is lost. Do you experience this or you don't experience this? Whenever you're trying to concentrate on something, the concentration is lost in moments. This is consciousness. We don't understand sometimes what is consciousness. Consciousness is that awareness. That awareness is supposed to come in yoga, but it doesn't come. It just comes and it goes. Okay, so Komal, I hope you got the answer. So it's very difficult to remain in consciousness all the time. So the best state is that you're in a state of Satchit Anand or state of Samadhi or Turiyam, and thoughts will come and go, but they are like small patches of clouds in the blue sky which don't disturb the sky. They just disappear. They come and they go.
Yoga Narasimhan.
Yoga Narasimhan, your question please. Yoga Narasimhan.
Sir, recently there was a death in my family. So how important is death rituals, sir? Because they say that the Atma keeps roaming in the earth for some time, and then only after the 13th day puja or 14th day puja, the Atma gets relieved.
Then we should be able to see the Atma roaming, no? Where is the Atma roaming?
Like few people have experienced it. So like the feeling of somebody's present.
So Yoga Narasimhan, this is called rituals. These are called superstitions and rituals created by the Brahmins, because otherwise their pujas will be meaningless, and then there will be no Brahmins in this world. They will be jobless. So please understand, the soul, if you want to follow ritual, you can follow. Anybody stopping? Am I stopping you from following the rituals? No. But you have to understand what happens to a person when the soul departs. Where does the soul go? The soul is energy. The soul is a power. It merges with the power that is everywhere. The soul is not like, it's not like a parachute that is left from an aircraft. In the aircraft, when you leave a parachute, that parachute will hang and fly and come and drop on earth. But the soul is not ejected like a parachute out of a dead man. Because there are 30 trillion cells. Each cell is powered by the soul. Not 10, not 100, not 1,000, not 1 lakh, not 1 million, not 1 billion. Trillion, 30 trillion cells. Yoga Narasimhan, do you understand what magnitude it is? And death happens like this. That energy leaves. That energy is beyond human comprehension. That soul, ask, you're an intelligent guy. So I am telling you, I am arguing with the Brahmin. No, the soul told me that they are dancing around for 15 days. So what do you have to say? You get my point or you don't get my point?
I'm getting your point, sir.
Nobody understands where's the soul. Nobody speaks to the soul. Nobody can see the soul. Nobody can imagine the soul. Nobody can fathom the soul. Then what is the story about 13 days?
But they say that there is a thing that they spread this sand on the 13th day, and they say that the dead person will come and they will leave a last impression or something like that. So that kind of puja is going to happen in my house in another 5 days. So I was like,
So you please don't disturb the puja because it will disturb everybody there. But you watch the drama. And as a person who's spiritual, you can come and tell us. I'll be very happy if you report to us in this group how you can see the nonsense that's happening. Sorry to use the term nonsense. Because as a spiritual person, you've been in this call for a few months at least. Now you're attending this call.
yes, sir.
You will see how ridiculous it is. You will see it's like a drama. You will understand A to Z of the rubbish that is happening. You will understand. I don't have to make you understand. Because why? In attending this call, you have become conscious of the reality. You have become conscious. According to you, Yoga Narasimhan, when a person dies, what happens to the soul? From your limited, whatever knowledge you have, tell me from your understanding, you've been here in this call for so many days. When a person dies, what happens to the soul? You tell me.
It definitely escapes from the body.
And where does it go, Yoga Narasimhan?
No idea, sir.
Huh? So the
No
calls
idea.
you've been hearing so many days, what are we talking about? Where does the soul go?
Like the gross, the me leaves, the me goes to the next body,
And the soul?
and the soul energizes the next body.
Correct.
Like-
But when it leaves the body, where does it go?
No,
We give an example of the air in the balloon. When you blow the balloon and the
yeah,
air
yeah,
leaves.
it mixes with the atmosphere. It
So
mixes
where does
with the
the soul go?
It mixes with the environment around.
It mixes with the supreme soul that's everywhere. God is everywhere. The supreme soul is everywhere. So if you and me die, are you telling me that your soul will be hanging here and my soul will be hanging here and they'll be dancing? Are you getting my point? Is
Yes,
the
sir.
soul an entity or is it a power? It is just like in your house, the electricity is giving light to the bulb also and giving light to the TV also.
Yes,
So
sir.
is it a different electricity giving light to the bulb and different light giving electricity giving light to the TV, or the same?
Same electricity.
So the soul that's giving you life and the soul that's giving me life is separate, or it's the same?
It's the same.
It's the same power. It's the power of Atma, it's the power of Paramatma, it's the power of God that's making you alive and making me alive. When it leaves you and me, what happens to that power?
It merges with the supreme soul.
Exactly. It's like an ocean. Where does the wave come from?
Ocean.
Where does it go back into?
Ocean.
So if we do puja for the wave, which is the wave has come and the wave is gone, now we are doing 13 days puja for that wave. Does it make any sense? Are you getting the point or not getting the point?
Yes, sir.
So you observe these pujas and please come back. But I hope I've answered your question. The soul, the moment the soul departs. In fact, Kumar Swami spoke about it very interestingly yesterday. I don't know if you were there. He said when the mind and ego is born in a zygote, when two cells of our parents become one, when the fertilization takes place, the soul appears. The soul fertilizes, the soul facilitates the fertilization of those two cells, and the mind and ego enters at that point. It's the karma. It is in the point that the person is already born, is conceived. And at the moment of death, the mind and ego is gone into a new body instantly. And the soul is a power. The soul facilitates birth and death. The soul doesn't take rebirth. The soul is not hanging around over the terrace and suddenly you see some flag is fluttering and you think, oh, the soul. In the Ramsay movies and these horror movies, they say, Bhoot aa gaya. So this is what the problem is. And we say the ghost is there, they will become spirits and they will be hanging around the house for 13 days. And if you do puja, then they will haunt you. Then middle of the night, they will knock the door. What are we talking about? So this is all complete nonsense and we have to do away with it.
So suppose if some death happen, like I'm not in charge of my uncle's house. So
Yeah.
suppose in my house, if somebody dies, like how do I have to
Simple ritual of cremation. And if you are in charge of it, say, I don't want any pujas. The person has died. If you, in respect of the person's life, you want to go serve poor people some food, you want to serve the cows, something like that. You want to do 2-3 days of silence, of bhajan, of kirtan, for prayers. Do it and finished. Because the person is gone. That person will never ever come back again. You're wasting your time, your energy, your money, you're wasting everything, and you're mourning for somebody, and it doesn't have any meaning. Now, I know that if somebody else, you will go and tell somebody, they'll say this man is talking nonsense. Because we have been following these rituals for more than 2000 years. Is it easy to break it? You know, Yoga Narasimhan, you just walk on the street and you go to a tree. And in the tree, you take some kumkum and white nama, and you put flowers and agarbattis, and you put something and start doing puja. You just try it. As you're standing and doing puja, 5 people will stand in line behind you to do the puja after you.
I've seen it in Kaban Park, sir. Like there's a Bel Patra tree in Kaban Park.
Yeah.
So everybody comes and takes 3 rounds around that.
What's the relevance? Nothing. They don't know. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. So we should not be like. Thank you. You brought a very interesting point, Yoga Narasimhan. Thank you for the point. But please, I would appreciate, since you're in your uncle's house and that's happening, please come with some more questions and observations. We would be happy to discuss.
Sure, sir.
Thank you. Next question.
Kumaraswamy.
Kumar Swami, sir.
Sir, Guruji Shivoham.
Shivam, sir.
In the self-enlightened person, can he use his body according to his wish?
How Kumar Swami? How it is possible? The self-realized person knows that birth and death is in the hands of the divine.
But so many yogis.
Kumar Swami, why you listen to all these yogis? How many yogis you want to listen to, Kumar Swami? You are a yogi. You be good yogi. That's all. See, understand the point. If they don't give all these stories, nobody will follow them. No. You believe in the truth. You want the truth or you want stories? You decide. You want the truth or you want stories?
Nah, I got doubt. That's why I want to clarification.
So, Kumar Swami, let me explain to you. Did you decide your birth?
No.
Did you decide your father, your mother, your nationality, your religion? We do not control our birth. You have seen so many people dying. Who controls death? It happens with our will or it happens with the divine will?
It will happen in divine will.
That's all. Don't confuse any further to this point.
Okay.
This point, they will show big drama. Kumar Swami, one yogi is sleeping like that, and then that yogi is sleeping from last 6 months, Kumar Swami. Every day he's sleeping, he's going to die. Suddenly one day he will die. So does it mean that? So you understand what I'm saying? It's not easy to die. You think, okay, I'm asking you, if you want to die, can you sleep? You will die. You think you can die like that?
Because sleeping is nothing but a died only.
Huh? Or
because sleeping every day we are dying.
every day we are dying. We are dying, getting up in the morning. But this big drama that people do, that I will leave my body. Who is that I who will leave the body? These people are creating so much drama. We should not believe all these things.
Okay.
We want the truth.
Okay.
Shiva, next. Tanu Chopra.
Shivoham Guruji.
Shivam, Tanu, bolo.
Guruji, I wanted to ask 3 questions.
3.
One, I wanted to ask how to remain positive in negativity and how to look beyond the circumstances, look forward to life and not get stuck into something. And because of you, if someone suffers and you are not the cause of it, but it is your karma.
So if someone is suffering because you are not the cause of it, it is not your karma, it is their karma. Are you clear? Karma means your action. If you have no action responsible for their suffering, it is not your karma. Your third point is clear?
Yes.
The first point, if you want to move from negative to positive, flip from nep to pep. flip from negative emotions to positive emotions. If you don't have a pack of cards, please collect it from when you're coming this side. Please collect the pack of cards. It's called Nep to Pep. You have the pack of cards?
No.
Okay. It is called Nep to Pep. Means this card is called Nep. See, this is called Nep. You turn from Nep to Pep. This has got 52 cards. Inside this, there are 52 cards, and you have to collect this. And instead of playing rummy, some people play rummy. This is a pack of cards. So many cards. All black cards is Nep, and this orange card is Pep. So anybody who wants these cards can collect these cards. But this is how to move from negative to positive. And your in-between question, what was your in-between question?
How to look beyond the circumstances, look forward in life, and
By-
not get stuck.
By 2 words. What are the 2 words? Acceptance and surrender. Accept whatever is happening as your karma and the divine will. You cannot do anything about it because it's already happening. It's already happened yesterday. Can you change it? You can't change it. And surrender to whatever is going to happen because of your past karma you've already planted, and keep doing the best possible karma. So if you do accept, surrender, and do your best karma, that is the best solution to looking forward to a life and trying to create a destiny of your choice. Thank you, Tanu. Unfortunately, Sudhir, do you want to say a closing statement? I unfortunately didn't give you the time. Do you have any closing statement?
No,
to
sir.
make,
I
Sudhir?
think no. I think you have already hit the nail. So I don't have anything to add to it, sir.
Are you little clear or absolutely clear now?
No, I'll contemplate on this, sir. Let me give it some time. I'll get back to you tomorrow on this.
Okay, so good. So we have very interesting questions, including Jyotri wanted to discuss on how the soul and the mind and ego and the karma enters the zygote. So Jyotri, tomorrow, because time is over, and we talked about consciousness and thoughts. Again, tomorrow we can go further on it, because all this helps us in our journey to enlightenment. Ultimately, we all are trying to get there. And I am grateful to all of you for coming onto this call day after day, as we have a date at 8. With folded hands, I bow down to you. Shivoham, 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 Shivoham.